What is up guys, and welcome back to another YouTube tutorial. My name is Moabi, and today we are going to be learning about Windows Hyper-V. For this video, I went ahead and created a presentation so that I can explain to you guys what is Hyper-V, its advantages, and also disadvantages. So without wasting any time, let's get into it. So the first question is, what is Hyper-V? Hyper-V is a native hypervisor from Microsoft. It allows you to run multiple virtual machines on a single physical host. Hyper-V is a Type 1 hypervisor, meaning it runs directly on the hardware. So basically, Hyper-V is a product of Microsoft, and it also helps us to run multiple operating systems on a single computer through the usage of virtual machines. It is known as a Type 1 hypervisor because you can install the system directly on the hardware, and you can create virtual machines and also install operating systems on those virtual machines directly from the hardware without the need for having an operating system running on your PC. But for these tutorials, I will be using Windows Server 2019 to install the Hyper-V application and also show you guys how to create virtual machines using the Hyper-V environment. So moving on to the next slide. Why use virtual machines? We use virtual machines for testing and development environments, running multiple operating systems such as Windows and Linux on the same machine, and it is efficient when it comes to resource usage. So the reason why we use virtual machines is so that we can test softwares and other development environments. If you have a software that you want to test without installing that software on your host machine, then you can use a virtual machine and test if the software works properly together with the operating system that you have installed on your virtual machine. You can run multiple operating systems on your virtual machine, such as Windows 7, Windows 8.1 Pro, Windows 10, Windows 11, Windows Server operating systems, and also Linux systems. Virtual machines come in handy, especially if you want to test out a new system without installing the system on your host machine. And the other reason why we use virtual machines is because it is efficient when it comes to resource management. So if you want to create a lab, but you don't have the budget to buy all the resources for creating your lab, then you can use virtual machines. Virtual machines are efficient when it comes to resource usage. You can split your host machine resources to all your virtual machines so that you can run multiple virtual machines with different operating systems so that you can create your lab. So if you have more resources on your host machine, such as your CPU, your RAM, and also your storage, you can create multiple virtual machines on your computer. But if you have limited resources on your PC, then you might encounter challenges, especially when you're trying to share resources to your virtual machines. Now on the next slide, we are going to focus on resource allocation and optimization. With Hyper-V, you can allocate CPU cores for each virtual machine. You can allocate storage to your virtual machines through Hyper-V, and also you can allocate memory for your virtual machines through Hyper-V. So like I said in our previous slide, whenever you're creating a virtual machine, that virtual machine will share the resources of the host machine. So we can allocate the CPU, the storage, and also the memory from the host machine to our virtual machines. Now, let's have a look at advantages of using Hyper-V. Hyper-V is native to Windows, providing high performance and stability, supports dynamic memory allocation, and it is cost-effective for users of Windows Pro or Enterprise. So this slide basically tells us that if we use Hyper-V, then we will have high performance and stability, especially when we are installing Windows operating systems as our virtual machines. So meaning, if we install a Windows operating system on our virtual machine through our Hyper-V, that Windows operating system will have high performance and it will also be stable. Hyper-V supports dynamic memory allocation. Now with this option, you can choose to have a fixed memory allocation, or you can let Hyper-V decide how much memory a virtual machine needs. And lastly, Hyper-Vs are cost-effective for users of Windows Pro or Enterprise. Meaning, if you want to use Hyper-V, you will need to have a Pro version of Windows or an enterprise version of Windows. So if you're using a Home Basic edition of Windows or a single home language edition of Windows, then you will not be able to use or install Hyper-V on your operating system. It is not supported due to the limitations of the operating system edition. So to download Windows 10 Pro, check out the link in the description below, as I have created a tutorial on how to download Windows 10 Pro and also how to install it. Moving on to disadvantages of Hyper-V. Hyper-V has limited support for non-Windows operating systems like Mac OS, and graphics performance may be limited without extra configurations. So, Hyper-V can allow you to install multiple operating systems, such as your Windows or your Linux operating systems, but you may encounter problems if you're trying to install a Mac operating system on your Hyper-V, as it is not supported, and the reason for that goes down to difference in hardware. Now, moving on to graphics, you may encounter issues with performance, especially if your host machine has limited graphic performance hardware. So, if your PC doesn't have enough resources, you may experience a lagging operating system on your virtual machine. So, in conclusion, Hyper-V is a powerful visualization tool integrated into Windows. It's ideal for testing, development, and running multiple operating systems on the same hardware. With proper configuration, you can efficiently manage and optimize resources for your virtual machines. So, all in all, Hyper-V is a virtualization tool that you can use to install multiple or different operating systems through the usage of virtual machines. We can use Hyper-V to manage, create, delete, and modify our virtual machines. And lastly, Hyper-V helps us to share resources from our host machine to our virtual machines. So there are many hypervisors out there, but for our tutorials, I will be using Hyper-V. In future, I will cover other hypervisor tools that we can use to create virtual machines other than Hyper-V. So with that being said, that concludes our video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a comment or a suggestion in the comment section below. Share the video with a friend or two. Give the video a thumbs up. And lastly, don't forget to click on the subscribe button for more. I will see you guys on the next video. And remember, each one teach one.